welcome to the Look at Me Now podcast, the Coach Heather Experience. This is your space for transformation, elevation, and joy. Every week we explore how to live a joy-filled life in your career, in your relationships, and in your soul. From your personal life to your professional world, I'll help you uncover how to love yourself more, love others more, and fall in love with your life. Whether it's mindset, movement, or emotional growth, this show is your invitation to rediscover excitement, adventure, and confidence. So I'm Heather, your cheerleader, your illuminator, and here to remind you that life is meant to feel good and to be enjoyed. So I just got back from yoga sculpt, then yin yoga, I got my hair done, I took a little rest, and I was reminded how important it is to stop and breathe and reconnect with what makes us feel alive. And I thought, you know what? This is exactly what I want to talk about today. Because God did not design us just to grind through life all the time, stressed out, numb, and disconnected. He gave us built-in highs, natural, beautiful, life-giving experiences that are available to us every single day. And today I want to walk you through the 4 natural highs that God gave us. Movement, a good meal, gut-wrenching laughter, and yes, intimacy and sensuality. These are the things that make life juicy, vibrant, and joyful. And I'm going to share the science behind them, some of my personal stories, and some practical ways that you can bring more of these natural highs into your everyday life. So if you're ready to glow up from the inside out, let's dive in. So first, the science of natural highs. So this is kind of the why. I either give you the spiritual why or I give you the scientific why, or sometimes both, right? Because it's important to understand our why. Like, just because I'm saying this and I'm a registered nurse, I have an MBA, I've been teaching fitness, but who made, I'm not God, right? So, just because I tell you something, I always like to talk about what's behind that. What's the meat behind it? What is spirituality and science? What are the facts behind it, right? Let's talk about the science of natural highs. So here's the thing. Many of us are chasing external highs. Likes, I've done that, right? Shopping, alcohol, scrolling endlessly like the old SNC, right? So scroll and compare. Even unhealthy relationships, because we're desperate to feel something. But the truth is, God already wired our bodies to give us the good stuff. When we move, when we laugh, when we eat, and when we connect intimately, our brains release endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. All those feel-good chemicals that increase our mood, help us to feel good, lower our stress, and help us feel connected to ourselves and to other people. And the best part, these highs, they don't leave you drained, empty, ashamed. They actually make you healthier, stronger, and more radiant. They are sustainable, free, they don't cost a thing, and they bring you back home to yourself. So let's break them down one by one. And let's also, a disclaimer, right? That anything in excess, like gluttony or, whatever, we don't want to go there, right? So first let's talk about movement, the first natural high. I love this, right? I've been moving my body, teaching fitness for over 20 years, and I did sports before that and dance. sometimes even teaching 10, 15, 20 classes a week. Movement has been my medicine, my therapy, my fountain of youth. And you know that exercise decreases those senescent cells that cause aging. I'll be real with you. I'm in my 40s, but people often tell me I look like I'm in my 30s and that my body looks like I'm in my 20s. And that's not just good genes. That's decades of choosing to move daily, dancing, sweating, stretching, lifting, laughing, playing. Movement keeps me radiant, confident, and strong. And here's the science. When you move your body, your brain releases those endorphins that we talked about. Natural painkillers and mood boosters. You reduce stress, you regulate your hormones, you literally change the chemistry of your brain. So here's the most important part. Movement should feel like play, not punishment. I don't want you, feeling like you have to torture yourself when you work out. I want you dancing in the kitchen, walking barefoot in the grass, shaking it out to your favorite song, lifting to make you feel like you're a superhero, or yoga, or a complete sensory experience, or dance, lifting weights that make you feel powerful. Whatever floats your boat, karate, flying a kite, running on the beach, walking on the beach. So, what movement makes you feel most alive and free? So stop right here and either think about it, say it out loud, or if you're not driving and you're a place where you can write it down on your phone or in a journal, type it out. But just think about what type of movement makes me feel free, makes me feel alive, makes me feel good. The second natural high is a good meal. Let me tell you, when I was in California last week, one of my favorite moments was sitting down with a cappuccino that was so perfect. I actually stopped and thought, this is joy. Food, a smoothie, a good cappuccino, when we're present with it, can be luxurious, nourishing, and soul-filling. Science tells us that good carbs and proteins boost serotonin and dopamine, that feel-good brain chemicals that make us calmer, happier, and more focused. But beyond the science, food is connection, right? It's culture, it's family, it's love. And so many of us have turned eating into something stressful, diets, guilt, rushing. But I want to invite you to reframe your relationship with food. Food isn't just fuel, it's a celebration. It's a way of saying, I honor my body and I honor this moment. So this week, I challenge you to create one meal that feels intentional. Set the table or your little bar stool or wherever you can. Light a candle. Put away your phone unless it's to play your favorite soft music or something. And taste every single bite. Experience the textures, the taste, the flavors. What does it feel like on your tongue? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? And then show gratitude for it. So let's just stop right here for a minute. Some of us have such a negative relationship with food. I was like this when I was young. I gained 100 pounds. You guys know I was married at 18. I gained 100 pounds with my first child. And I started working out at 18 as far as fitness. But before that, I was a cheerleader, dance, soccer player, softball when I was younger. So the thing is that I would deprive myself and go on these diets. And then I would gorge and just like eat so much where I had to lay down because I ate, overate so much. And after I gained that 100 pounds with my daughter and lost it, it really took a lot to lose. And I just, I was so kind of obsessed around food. And, then I had 2 more daughters a year apart. And then I came across a magazine, and I can't remember, this is when I was teaching at Gold's Gym and Ladies Workout, but I came across an article and it had a quiz in there about what kind of eater are you? What kind of food are you? It was like in a fitness magazine or something. And basically what it said was that I was an emotional eater, and that, journaling my food and tracking every little bit wasn't good for me, because that just made me obsess over food and think about food all the time. So for me, it said it was very important for me to listen to my body, to eat when I was hungry, and to stop when I was full. And I like what Tanya Lee, my mentor, says, elegantly satisfied. Stop when you're elegantly satisfied. And if you start saying things out loud like, I am a woman who stops eating when I'm elegantly satisfied. I am a woman who is naturally slim. You will subconsciously do things to prove that true, right? So I just started listening to my body, taking the time to stop. I'm not the type that can eat when I'm going through a drive-thru, like go through a drive-thru and eat while I'm driving. I can do that, but if I do that, my brain won't even register that I ate, and I'm still hungry an hour later after I had a meal. So I have to stop the car after I go through the drive-thru, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, and eat my food and savor it and think about it and really pay attention to what I'm doing and pay attention to my body. That is what's helped me release that obsession with food. And look, I love to eat, okay? My dad loves to eat. The way that he and my brother describe food is like a chef, that it's the most delicious thing in the world, right? And I'm the same. I love to eat. But I've learned to have a healthier relationship with food. I don't deprive myself of the brownie or the Lent truffle when I want it, but I also don't eat that kind of food every day, right? I eat clean for the most part. So, it's just about finding that balance that works for you and taking the time to slow down and enjoy your food. Use your 5 senses. You'll notice that you get satiated faster, that you get full faster, and that you feel more satisfied after you're done. Now, movement. We've been conditioned in the U.S. to think that movement is torture. So, it was kind of fun with the let's get physical era and the, 80s and, when people were doing like dance kind of aerobics and stuff. But then it became like this super hardcore, P90X type thing. And there's nothing wrong with that if you like that, right? But a lot of people associate that with torture. Movement gives us natural pleasure-pleasing endorphins that are so far from torture, right? God made us to work physically. That is the way we were made. So God made our bodies to move, to exercise. So the key to falling in love with movement is, number one, recognizing this whole thing that society has told us that exercise is bad and horrible and torture. That is not true. We were made to love exercise because back in the day you had to work, right, physically in the fields and everything. So we love to move. That's why our bodies release natural pleasure-pleasing endorphins when we move. They say that almost 90% of mild depression can be cured through exercise, through movement. So the key is finding what you love. A walk in the woods, flying a kite, walking next to the water, doing karate, shooting hoops, lifting, whether it's at your house or in your apartment or dorm room or at the gym. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's, yoga, maybe it's stretching, maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's calisthenics, maybe it's CrossFit. It's finding what works for you. And I guarantee you there is some movement, and it might be work, it might be cutting the grass, but there is some movement that you love. Embrace it, start doing it. It might be sports, you might love competition, but maybe your knees or hips won't let you do that anymore. Find a sport you can do that's easier on your body, okay? Whatever it is, find what you love and start enjoying the benefits of movement. All right, the next one, the natural pleasure-pleasing high that God gave us, a gut-wrenching laughter. And guys, my husband, he makes me laugh 24/7. He is so crazy. And so if you've ever been around anybody like that, it's a lot of fun, right? Because they're always making a joke out of everything. When was the last time that you laughed so hard you had tears streaming down your face, or your stomach hurt because you couldn't breathe, and your side hurts because you're laughing so hard? Those moments are everything. Laughter bonds us. It melts away stress. It boosts immunity. It reminds us not to take life so seriously. For me, some of my best memories are with my husband and my kids, with my friends. Are those nights when we laughed so hard we couldn't even talk. So your action item for laughter this week: seek out laughter. If you live alone, or you're in a dorm or something, watch a comedy. Say yes to a silly TikTok dance. Scroll through some funny things. Watch a funny movie. Call that one friend who always cracks you up. Life is too short to be serious all the time. Laughter really is the best medicine. So here's what your journal prompt: when was the last time that I laughed so hard I cried? And how can I invite more of that into my life? So just think about it, say it out loud. If you're where you can write it down, or maybe write it down later. Just write it down if you can. If you're not somewhere where you can write it down, just say it out loud. Just think about it. When was the last time you laughed so hard your sides hurt? And what did that make you feel like? And how can you bring more of that into your life? Now, here's one that people often shy away from, but I won't, because I want to keep it real, right? And that is sex and sensuality. This brings so much healing and empowerment to our lives. That's the fourth, or the natural high: sex and sensuality. Listen, intimacy is a God-given gift. It is not shameful, it's sacred, it's powerful. When you connect deeply with your partner, or even with yourself, in sensual energy, your body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You feel loved, safe, connected, and alive. And sensuality isn't just about the bedroom. It's about how you embody pleasure in your daily life. It's the way you dance, the way you savor touch, the way you move your hips to music, the way you breathe deeply and let yourself feel. I believe women especially need this reminder. Your sensuality is not something to hide. It's something to celebrate. It's part of what makes you magnetic, powerful, and whole. So the journal prompt for this one is: where can I bring more sensual pleasure into my daily life, inside and outside the bedroom? And I'm reading this book called 101 Nights of Great Sex. It was written a long time ago, but it's kind of like one of those Dale Carnegie books. It still applies today. So, it's for adults only, but great book. If you've been in a long-term relationship maybe, and you're looking to, spark things up a little bit. So let's recap the 4 highs that God gave us, the 4 natural highs: movement, a good meal, laughter, sex, and sensuality. And you all know this, right? Have you taken an amazing yoga class or had an amazing day lifting at the gym, or a gut-wrenching laugh, or a sensual experience, or such a pleasant fancy meal that you almost felt like you drank a couple drinks or took something because you feel so naturally high? That's what I'm talking about. And if you've never experienced that, you need these 4 things more than anybody, right? They're simple, they're powerful, they're available to you right now. And I want you to give yourself permission this week to intentionally practice at least one of these every day. Because when you do, you'll notice more that you feel more joy, you feel more grounded, you feel more magnetic. So let's end today with an affirmation. I am alive, I am radiant, and I am designed for joy. I am alive, I am radiant, and I am designed for joy. And remember, you are not broken, you are becoming. Tag me at Coach Heather Owens on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Let me know how you're doing. Go out there and live your radiant, adventurous, and joy-filled life. And remember, you are amazing, and you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Could see that you're good enough.